We spoke about this a few times, where sometimes the people on the side who are meant to be protecting, a portion of them end up doing, they end up attacking the people they are meant to be. Oh no, wait a minute. I think what it's saying is that when the Congolese force then get hold of the ADF, they then form their own. They go against their human rights and do a whole bunch of stuff to the ADF rebels.
Yeah.
So they don't just arrest them.
Yeah, they'll think, okay, well, you did this to them, now we're going to do this to you, kind of thing.
And we're not going to arrest you, and to take you to court. And again, this is not everyone, by the way. So it's not saying that it happens all the time, but it is saying that there are times when the force, when the Congolese security forces come through, they don't just stop and tie them up. They will, I would imagine that they would kill a lot of them. Yeah. Well, without trial. Now, you would say, why would anybody from the ADF be allowed a fair trial? Unfortunately, however you feel, everyone has human rights, even someone who has done horrendous things.
Yeah. So you would think,
but sorry, Karen.
Yeah. Yeah, because you would end up having probably a gun battle, and you would have casualties. But then when that's overrun, it's like the gun battle is supposed to stop, and you take prisoners. You take prisoners of war. You arrest whatever,
which happens a lot. But this is saying at times, they don't tie them up; they just shoot them.
They'll just take them out. Yeah.
Or So it's interesting that both sides can be doing human rights atrocities.
Yeah. What is very worrying is that it doesn't seem like the supposed UN peacekeeping forces have much power to actually do anything. It's almost like the people, the local people want to actually, they don't care about the UN peacekeeping forces, because they often rock up, after the deed has been done, and they can't really do much.
Well, the problem with that, though, is that the UN forces, also known as the Blue Helmets,
yes,
they are not allowed to fire unless they are fired upon, because it's a human rights thing.
I know, and that's an international rule of engagement.
Yes, that's right. You can't go out and attack before you get attacked.
That's it.
But to me, it makes sense, though, because that is what the UN is about.
Yeah,
it's all about human rights.
Yeah.
So they will bring in their soldiers, their soldiers, and they will put them in an area where they will defend that area in the hope that it'll stop any attack happening beyond that border.
Yeah.
And invariably, it's like the movie and the whole thing, Hotel Rwanda.
I don't think I've seen that yet.
Where there were blue helmets there.
Yes.
And they weren't allowed to actually do anything outside of watching because they weren't being fired upon.
I don't know if I'd be able to deal with that level of feeling that helpless. Like knowing I've got all this firepower,
but you can't use
and
it.
I can't help. I can't help these people that are now I don't know.
So basically, anybody behind them is safe in inverted commas.
Yeah.
But outside, so invariably, that they have actually stopped a lot of issues.
Yeah.
But as you say, if it's in front of them and they're not being shot on, their law says that they can't go out and actually stop anything.
That's got to be tough, eh?
Oof.
I
wouldn't want to be in that position at all. So, but now also what happens? I don't know. So I can't say where it comes from. But normally within a war like this with the ADF and and the DRC, their government in Uganda, there are normally funds sent to them to strengthen their army and so forth. So I might not be able to physically go in there, and actually fight with them.
Yeah.
I can still, pour an amount of finances. So you will know then that within this fight that the United States, I can't remember, I'm going to have to look up this more, but I think that they actually gave an amount of money to one of the governments.
Okay.
To like get more guns, more ammo, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So that their forces will be stronger to take out the ADF.
Okay.
So in a sense that they are being helped.
Yes.
They're not helpless.
No.
But for sure, they are up against like 126 armed groups, where with the ADF being the largest one.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think about those rural areas of Africa, I mean, these villages are so remote. You can't put a UN force around every one of those villages. So that's why they don't know. You can't predict which village is going to be attacked when or whatever, and it's just
yeah. So this happened on the 31st of May. So it's pretty much like 2 months ago. The fighters from the ADF group, they killed 57 civilians in displacement camps.
Jeepers! So they went and found them. They
in
went
one
and
of
found
the camps,
refugees,
and they got in, and from this report, 57 were killed.
I'm surprised the number is so low. I mean, 57 people, that's a lot of people, but I would have expected,
if they got through,
I would have expected more people to have been killed. If it was a displacement camp, it would have been.
It's possible that they got into one, into one area, and then the noise and the havoc started, which then brought in more people. I would imagine, brought in the defense force.
Right. Okay.
That's the only reason which I could say why it didn't go more than that.
Yeah.
So they are that brazen that they will actually go into an actual displacement camp.
Yes.
That's how friggin'
off their rockers they actually are.
Yeah. That's how that just shows that they are that insane in the sense where if they can go to that level, they'll do anything.
That actually brings me to something that I thought that I wrote down, which I thought it's pretty. I think it's a pretty good thought actually.
Beautiful. Throw it.
So, human beings have the ability to emotionally invest and believe in something so passionately that we get to the point where we believe in our own minds that violence is justified to push our agenda and ideology onto others if and when they reject our beliefs. I mean, we can. I mean, just think of how emotionally invested you get in everyday things. Things that you enjoy doing. Your gaming, my guitar playing. Whatever. We've got an investment in that. Money, emotion to a certain extent.
Okay.
Passion.
Yeah.
So
where are we going with this?
Now,
because that's like.
Yes, I know.
Okay, I want to see where you go with this before I say anything else.
Increase that 100-fold to a religious belief, or a political belief, and that's
linked to me playing FIFA on my Xbox. No, I'm being honest. I'm trying to work out from a level of Xbox how the hell I went to becoming a member of ADF.
It's when we human beings we get passionate about things in life.
So you think they're passionate about killing people?
Hey? Well, probably to a certain extent,
yeah.
And then they're passionate about pushing their religious ideology onto people that don't necessarily want it. And they're like, well, no, sorry for you. If you don't believe, we're gonna take you out.
I see where you're going.
Yeah. And that's the...
Did you know that roughly that a bit more than 5 million people have been uprooted? With just in one area alone, 1.7 million have been displaced. That's an area in DRC, not DRC. So we're seeing and this is something though that we have seen, that we will see with any form of, not any form, with quite a large amount of, of these ideologists and the human rights, being stepped on. Invariably, you will see. So I've used that word about 5 times. I'm going to stop using that word.
It's a cool word.
Invariably, word of the day. That invariably there are going to be many displaced and many refugees. So this is just one area. 1.7 million have been displaced, and DRC is huge. So you would think there'll be millions upon millions who have been displaced, because as we said, that's what these rebels do. They come through and they burn. I mean, we discussed this with the one on Rohingya.
Yeah.
It sounds very the same. Why? It sounds the same. Why? Because it's exactly what ideologists do to mark their turf, so to speak.
Yeah, and when you got what did you say? 120 different militia groups.
Yeah, armed.
I'm like, do you think that something like that's ever going to end?
No, of course not. It's not.
I mean, it's just going to continue and continue
it's not gonna
and
end.
continue. And it's like
no, and people have had to leave their country because of this. And like I say, this is with human rights atrocities. This always happens. There will be refugees, guaranteed. Because
a certain agenda is being pushed, and they will not back down. And they just decide that the only way that they can get other people to join their cause is to...
Well, it's either join or die.
Yeah. That is a very, very scary...
I would think, though, that... I mean, I might be
thought.
wrong. I'm just thinking hypothetically with this. I would imagine, okay, I feel that maybe not everybody shares the same, as in possibly there's some that just enjoy, that are there to take over more territory from the DRC.
Possibly.
And it's all about, we own this land, we're going to run this country.
Yes.
So I think it's a mixture
between
the ideology and just, it's a rebel group that is trying to disrupt and to take over the country, basically.
Yeah.
But yes, there are always religious backgrounds in there, I would think. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, this one...
But this one absolutely does.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, with a lot of the terrorist organizations, it is the same mantra.
Yeah. That's it.
The exact same mantra.
Well, I have come to the end of my thoughts.
Well, I mean, we can land the plane.
We can.
We can land the plane. I mean, there's just so much about it. And we've just gone past I just need to see a date here, but we had in the beginning of June actually was, in the middle of June, there's World Refugee Day. So it's just an interesting thing which I was reading now. But now the question is, for all these places that take in refugees, how do you, and yes, we're going to say, there are refugee organizations, but you're placed in another country with no food, no water. That's a whole nother side of this.
Yeah, I mean, the logistics of the assistance that you need to help those people survive.
Exactly.
And when you just, they're just in an area, now what are they going to do? Are they going to live out the rest of their lives just in that area?
Unfortunately. And that happens in many war-torn countries. Like, think of Israel and Palestine.
Yeah.
Mostly on the Palestinian side, that they have a huge refugee camp that's between there and Israel. That's a whole nother area that I feel there are a lot of human atrocities going on there as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, that one alone, I'm sure will be another topic in itself. But I think people give too much credit to the Israeli side and less, as in more focus as to what the Israelis are doing and how well they're doing it and how they're doing it humanely. But I just feel that a lot of that side has been pushed by Christianity, because I mean, it's in Israel, so obviously, you can't do wrong because it's Israel.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother.
That's another can of worms.
I think that's a big one because, like I say, the focus is more on how bad Palestine is, but the atrocities that are happening from the Israeli side.
Yeah,
needs to actually be unearthed because that's been going on for years.
Yeah.
In fact, the Israeli Palestine war has been going on for centuries.
Yeah.
Centuries. And I don't think that's going to stop.
No. But yeah, there's always, there's those two sides to every story. Or like some people like to say, 3 sides to every story. Yours, mine, and the truth.
I like that.
I always like that statement as well.
Yours, mine, and the truth.
Yeah. Somewhere in there is the truth. But
yeah, I just feel that there's that obviously, I mean, the focus now is on the ADF, but in Africa there are so many war-torn areas.
It's huge, eh?
So many, and I think even there's so many that we actually haven't even, even seen in the background. I mean, like we were saying, there's 112 roughly, other armed groups in the DRC. It shows. I have an article, and it's actually very interesting. Actually, it has that the statement kind of is in Uganda why the ADF has outlived other rebels, which is a very good questions. That's a fantastic question.
Have you got it there?
No, press. Yeah, so I just wanted to end on, I guess, something positive in all of this shit is that I would say it's positive because at least there's some stuff now that is being built up more and more to try and take down these rebels.
Yeah.
So now this is basically a joint venture with the Ugandan and the Congo armies. I think we were saying now that there has always been that there has been an issue between the Ugandan government and the Congolese.
Yeah, for quite a number of years.
And that was linked with. Do you remember what it was? Was it there? It was the mining, something to do with the.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I can find the article quickly.
Yeah, because we were just
put that in context.
Sorry, yeah, because we were just having a discussion about it now.
So even though they've been sort of had a bit of a conflict,
yes.
they're kind of coming together.
They will still come together. Exactly. That's my kind of point about
saying,
it.
Okay, cool. We need to.
Yes.
This is a problem.
Yeah. Exactly. If you do find it, please tell me because I just found that interesting.
Yeah. So here we go.
Thank you.
So yeah, there were conflicts. They were seeking reparations. Congo.
Congolese, yeah. Okay.
Congolese were seeking reparations from Uganda because they've had conflict in the Ituri province, which is very mineral rich.
Okay. And the Ituri is in Congo, if I'm correct.
Yes, as far as I understand.
Yep. Okay.
And so you've always got these countries fighting over the minerals and all of that kind of thing. So.
Okay, I thought so. I was just exactly your point being that even though that was going on, they still saw, okay, let's work hand in hand because. So the Ugandan and Congo armies. Okay, now this is in middle of May, like this
year,
past May. Yeah. The Ugandan and the Congo armies were setting up an operations center in the east of the DRC for a joint offensive against these Islamist rebels. Now this is saying on the Sunday, obviously in the middle of May, so whatever it's going to be. A delegation from the Ugandan People's Defense Force, including the commander of the Ugandan Ground Forces, they arrived in Bibini in Congo's north Kivu province to establish a coordination center. So on May the May the 3rd, so this is a little bit earlier than this, Congo had introduced a martial law in the northern area, in North Kivu and Ituri provinces, in the hope of addressing worsening bloodshed in a swath of territory along its border with Uganda. So basically what was happening there could have spilled over into Uganda.
Right.
And again, Uganda, and you can't blame a country from where a rebel group started. I mean, it's not like Ugandans
they're not
made it happen.
responsible for it.
It just happened to be there. But that's why the Ugandan Defense Force and the Congolese Defense Force needed to be hand in hand in this because it affects both sides.
Yeah.
But they have moved mostly from Uganda. Uganda had basically managed to get to a point where there's very few left in Uganda.
Right.
They've all been moved across basically the backyard to the DRC.
Okay.
In March, okay. Oh yes, and this is what you were saying that in March that sorry, I'm just seeing one thing which I just saw pop up that I think we spoke about, where in March that the United States labeled the group as a foreign terrorist organization.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this article doesn't really give much further information as to what happened between these two, because this is between the hands of Congo and Uganda. But it is showing that they have, come to a point where they said that this is affecting everyone.
Yeah, so let's work together.
So let's work together because this is a human rights atrocity and we are living in it.
Yeah.
And hopefully with that kind of thing in play, things will happen. But I think it's got a way to go.
I think so, yeah.
Because, I mean, with these terror groups, they can go to ground, and then a month or 2 or 6 months later, they pop up even stronger.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's a way of destroying these kind of groups.
I don't know either. It's like we said, there's almost 120. How do you put a stop to all of that?
No, look, I mean, and I think it is good, good to label a group, as a terror organization.
Yes.
But fine, that's been done.
Yeah. Okay.
And then
now what are you going to do about it?
And I found with America that they can say stuff, but unless it encroaches on their back porch.
Yeah, they're not going to.
Because I don't think that they've sent out people into the DRC or Congo.
No, you don't hear about
the DRC or Uganda.
Yeah, you don't hear about American boots on the ground
No, so it's fair enough to label something, but then with the labeling there needs to be a bit of teeth to it. Otherwise, it's a gummy bear dog basically.
Yeah, and this is why
it barks and does nothing else.
Yeah, and this is why now the UN, the United Nations gets blamed for not having teeth, basically, because of this fact that they don't have the rules of engagement to just go in and so
I don't really, I mean, I don't know how long this will last. Unfortunately, with like, with these rebel groups and the wars going on, especially over Africa, they've been going on for centuries.
Yeah, and it'll
now
continue.
How this could stop, I don't know.
No, neither do I.
I guess what you're saying, if this was, in another world, you would give the UN, like the rights and the rules of engagement to go out and do what you can to accompany the government forces.
Yes.
So I'm just saying what I'd like to see happen.
Yeah.
In another world, all these atrocities would be stopped because I would make them stop.
That's it.
But I'm not God, and see, that's a whole other thing. But with God and everything, it's obviously people getting shot and killed and maimed and destroyed is wrong. It's bad. It's not wrong. It's bad.
Yeah.
Hideous.
Yeah.
But God's watching. But we all have a choice. We all make our own choices.
Yes.
So as good people, we think, great, I take this on. That's from, whoever you believe in, God, whatever.
Yeah.
I am given. I can choose. But when it comes to bad people, well, they must be stopped. But they also have choice to be to kill or not kill.
Yeah, they're making those choices for themselves.
But there's the one view that's like, well, they shouldn't have that choice because they're doing bad things, and therefore they should be stopped and lashed and zapped by God. I think it's difficult for God because he's watching what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's horrible, mayhem, bad, and he has the power to just go zip.
Yeah.
And scorch earth, all of them.
But
he also gave humans the right to choose.
Yeah.
And to me, I think that's where it backfires.
Yeah.
Can I say that backfires? No, not really. I mean,
yeah, that is
God's can't be backfire, but you know what I'm saying.
I think that's an inherently human trait is freedom of choice.
Yeah, that's what makes us humans.
Yeah, because animals are purely driven by instinct.
Exactly.
To feed, to mate, to hunt, to whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas with humans, like I mentioned earlier, we have emotions.
Yeah.
And we can make choices.
Yeah.
How far? Yeah, we make that choice of how far that emotional investment actually takes us. So yeah, and I'm sure all these, everyone, we're a product of our choices. We really are. You know? And
and the more that are making the same bad choice, that's where you start to begin to see factions, and as it grows, it becomes a rebel group. As it grows, it becomes an army. As it grows, it becomes a world war.
Yes. Scary.
But God is still up there.
Yes.
I just find it interesting.
And sometimes frustrating. I'm like, come on.
you can do something about it.
Yeah.
But then if you did it, then that's the thing with otherwise we would be robots.
Freedom of choice would be taken away.
We would just do what we have to do and life is okay. No.
That's it.
But as much as we see human rights, as much as we see it for ourselves as good, as long as it's for good things. Once it's bad, well, no, that can't happen. But unfortunately,
and
that's why it's human rights, and that's why there's human rights atrocities.
Yeah,
very close to each other, in the same land, just a wall between each other.
That's it.
On that beautiful note.
This has been the Spaghetti Junction podcast. My name is Bruce.
It has indeed, Bruce.
What's your name?
At this point, it could be anything, but I'll say it's Jemima.
Wow.
That's my middle name, Gareth Jemima. It's Gareth. Yeah.
As always, like, comment, subscribe, share, let us know what you think in the comments. Engage with us. We are getting some engagement now, which is pretty cool.
We are actually.
So thank you
One
for
or
that.
two.
And
thank you.
it would be great to hear from you guys. And we'll catch you guys in the next one.
And don't forget, put some ideas what you might think would be a good punishment for the person. For our upcoming episode, You Laugh, You Lose. Write down anything.
It's going to be interesting.
Because, one of us is going to lose, and we'll take some people's ideas and see how bad they are, and you might just make it happen.
Awesome.
All right. See you next
See you guys
one.
on the next one. Bye-bye.